Right. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Sorry, please continue, Nicholas.
Uh, but I was just gonna mention, our first responders have been working nonstop. As Joan, as you mentioned, the senior leads are currently up there. Sergeant Spangler as well is up there, as well as kind of firefighters from our district, from both kind of the north side, the south side, and other firehouses as well. And the councilman also kind of wanted us to assure everyone that while a lot of officers and firefighters are up there, kind of dealing with the situation, we still have coverage here. So Southeast is working very hard, in Harbor Division as well, and our firehouses, especially Firehouse 79, have been doing a lot of great work recently with some of the rubbish fires that they've had to deal with along the 110. And also, as you know, there's been a lot of people that have reached out to our office with asking about ways they can assist, and perhaps donate, whether it's money, clothes, items, food, or even to volunteer. So, on our social media, we've kind of established a list of different organizations that have been vetted. For example, the Red Cross and some other reputable organizations. And we are just kind of letting everyone else know as well that, don't donate to a GoFundMe of someone that you don't know. Beware of kind of spam messages uh, that, perhaps are asking money, for asking for money on behalf of the firefighters. We do kind of have all of the official fire foundations on our social media pages. So if you would like to contribute or just kind of see what other ways you can help those in need, we do have that on our page. And I know the mayor's office does as well, as they've kind of taken point with a lot of those efforts. Um, as I was saying a little bit earlier, we still have our services here, not only the fire department and the police department, um, some of the, sanitation trucks have also kind of been over there, just, removing waste, clearing roadways. Same with the urban forestry, some of their crews that have, been taking down all of the knockdown trees out of the roadways up over those areas. But again, still definitely use 311 and reach out to our office as well if there's anything urgent. I know that our clean team has been doing a lot of great work. Again, mostly around the underpasses. So our CRCD team this week was doing a lot of weed abatement and trash pickup along Imperial. I believe between uh, kind of the area between Stanford all the way down to Wadsworth. So they've been cleaning those areas. It looks really nice. And they've been kind of moving all over, clearing alleys, clearing some of the underpasses from trash, debris, overgrowth. So any requests that you guys have, please let me know. I do know some folks have reached out about overgrowth, just kind of along the Vermont corridor. Uh, just a little bit north of Rosecrans Rec. So that is something that is on their radar as well as the walkway on Hoover that kind of goes from uh, basically from between kind of 135th all the way to El Segundo. That area kind of accumulates trash and needs to be cleared about every month and a half or 2 months. So that is also on their radar. And as I mentioned as well, Caltrans has also been doing a lot of work today. I did see that their graffiti teams were taking graffiti down as far south from Carson all the way to about Imperial. I know that's kind of been a very pesky nuisance, just the amount of graffiti all along the 110, but especially in the area that kind of cuts through the Harbor Gateway North. So, I put in those customer service requests with them, and they're normally very timely, getting them done normally within a week or at the latest within 2 weeks. Another update related to Caltrans is they are working on a beautification project along the 110 freeway. So very early on, but I will connect that team with the neighborhood council. They're looking at two areas to beautify. It's part of a bigger project that circles all the way around the 5 freeway up in El Monte. But the two locations that they're looking to beautify in our district are the 110 and Imperial area, both off ramps, and the general Caltrans area, as well as the intersection of the 110 and the 91 freeway. So they've looked at those two sites in particular. They want to pave some of the areas that haven't been paved to help aid their teams as far as safety and parking safely when they are working on the side of the road. And they're also looking at planting some new drought tolerant plants to help kind of deal with the illegal dumping. As you guys have also seen, we've had an uptick of these dump trucks that just kind of pull off to the side of the road and dump dirt or construction material. So they're also kind of looking at ways to reduce that behavior. So by planting some more plants, paving some extra portions for their teams. I do know that at the 110 and Imperial kind of intersection, they're also looking to repave some of the sidewalls, some of those slopes as well, um, just due to wear and tear over the years. So perhaps next meeting or sometime in March, we could have one of their representatives give a breakdown, because I do know that they had a plant palette or a flower palette, and they were looking for recommendations for the kind of plants that uh, our community wanted to see. So I will definitely make those connections um, after this meeting. Also, if you guys may or may not have seen, but this weekend we did have kind of a rash of fires along the 110. So I did report a fire and an encampment around the general area of Alondra, uh, near the underpass there. There's a decent sized encampment along the Caltrans area that had a rubbish fire this weekend. So that's been reported, and Caltrans is looking into clearing that, as well as the area around Redondo Beach Boulevard. Some of the businesses there, including, the businesses west of the 110, so Farmer Boys, the Ono, the college, they have been dealing with an uptick in thefts, and just kind of people going into the establishments and causing trouble. And we did discover that there's quite of a big encampment um, deep into the Caltrans area. It's very, very hard to access for both Caltrans staff and also for the fire department when they need to get there. So we're gonna make sure that Caltrans is able to clear those areas as soon as possible, and make sure that, especially right now in this time, that we really limit any fires or any fire possibilities. Additionally, as far as homelessness outside of the Caltrans areas and in the city right of way, we have been constantly working with some of the folks that are encamped around the 117th, 118th area around basically between Broadway and Main. There are some folks there that go back to the same alley all the time, no matter how many times we clear it. So I am working with Officer Hamaoka and with our LA Hop teams um, to kind of facilitate services and hope that the people there come indoors. And as well for the folks in District 3, there's been an encampment on the south side of 129th, just east of Vermont. So that encampment it's on the schedule for tomorrow, um, depending on kind of any unforeseen situation. That encampment should be cleared. And LA Hop and service providers have been visiting that area prior to this cleanup. As always, it is the position of our office, the city, but especially the council member to offer services, especially for some of these folks that are, struggling very hard or perhaps appear to be dealing with, some sort of mental illness. So we have been working with our service providers as well as our unarmed response team, uh, our Exodus team. So they've been doing excellent work as well as outreach. This past week, they were on Imperial Highway as we've had a few folks living on their vehicles on Imperial, and so they were doing outreach as well. Um, getting referrals for safe parking for some of the people there living in their vehicles. So again, if you guys ever also have a non-emergency situation that perhaps doesn't warrant a police response, but some sort of behavioral intervention or mental health intervention, you can always call the non-emergency number, and let the operator know of the situation, let them know that you would like to see an armed response, and those Exodus crews will be dispatched. And what is great about the Exodus crews is they are very thorough with follow-up. So they will call you when, they're on their way there. They'll call you after just to kind of let you know what happened and what was the resolution with that situation. So definitely please use them as well. And we want to keep them in our district, so we want to make sure that they are getting used and they are getting calls for service as well. So um, please use that resource when it's applicable. Um, Also, just to kind of round off the homelessness topic, you may have seen that the point in time or the homelessness count that LASA sets up every year um, was delayed, I believe. I'm not sure if they've announced a new date as of this evening. Originally, I believe it was supposed to be on the 23rd, but due to the fires, they've been granted an extension, and LASA will organize the point in time count for most likely, I would assume February, sometime either very late January, if not February. And lastly, the last thing I wanted to bring up was just some of the general quality of life issues on Gardena Boulevard. Um, our GAP crews there have been very thorough with their work as far as graffiti removal. I know there's been some instances and definitely some days where the graffiti has gotten really out of control. But thankfully, GAP is there, first thing in the morning to remove it. So we're very grateful to them for all the work that they do. Additionally, as well, the auto repair shop on Gardena Boulevard, uh, right across the street from the Boys and Girls Club. We've had some concerns and issues there. about them parking their vehicles kind of all along Gardena Boulevard and some of the side streets um, there around the auto shop. So I am working with building and safety to get them to do an inspection, as well as follow up with the business owner to let them know that that behavior is not acceptable and that the full force of the city will come down on them for any violations that they are committing. And that about rounds it up for the update I have. I'll open it up to any questions, comments, or concerns.
Thank you very much. I see that Madge has her hand up.
Hi,
Madge?
Nicholas. Yes, I had two questions or maybe one comment on the last about the auto repair shop.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's great to really kind of crack down on the vehicles parking. I did want to mention, it seems like, and I don't know if it was by them or someone else, that there were at least one, possibly two trees that were along that walkway that have been removed on that side. So it's like the south side of Gardena Boulevard.
Mhm.
Were you aware of that, or do you know?
Yes, so I actually heard that from a constituent as well today. So I haven't gone, I didn't get a chance to stop by today, but I'll definitely pull up, kind of the Google images before, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
go and take a picture and report that to urban forestry. I'm not sure exactly what the penalty is. I do know that there is a fine involved. So
Uh-huh.
I'll just make sure that that gets reported. So I will definitely go out there tomorrow morning and take some pictures.
Okay, thank you. And my other just question for clarifying the graffiti along the 110 or anything that's specifically Caltrans, to report that, is that the same through 311, or is there a different way to report the kind of Caltrans on the freeway type of incidents? Like
Um,
graffiti?
Absolutely. So Caltrans does have a separate reporting system, and a lot of people kind of get frustrated because they'll report graffiti on 311 and then, they'll receive an email saying, their ticket was closed or that it was referred, and there's kind of just this confusion about that graffiti. So Caltrans does have their own website, and I will pull up the link. I believe it's like csr.ca.gov, something like that. So I'm gonna
Okay.
find the link and I'll put it
If
in the
you
chat.
put in Caltrans service request, it usually pops up and you fill it out and they give you a report number. It's
Yeah,
just, it seems to take graffiti removal takes a long time. Almost everything with Caltrans seems to take a long time, but
yeah, and then to add to that, it doesn't help that that website. As far as I know, they still don't have like a mobile app. So the website is a little bit it's not the most user friendly, and they also are very specific. They want like eastbound, westbound, lots of details. And one gripe that I always have is they do not let you upload pictures onto the website. So in the future, I know that's something that our office has brought up to Caltrans, and so hopefully they're able to allow users to upload pictures, and I hope that they have a some sort of mobile app in the works because that always makes things a lot easier just to do it through an app.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the information, Nicholas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
Rosalie?
hey, Beth. I think Rosalie's hand.
yeah,
Do you
I
have a
had,
question, Rosalie?
yes, I had a couple of questions. So when we want to get to the Exodus or non-police responder, and we use the non-emergency police number, is that an option? Because, otherwise you're just waiting on hold forever. Is that one of the options, one of the numbers to get to that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it is not. So when you dial the non-emergency line, yeah, the forget what it is, the 1-800 Ask LAPD or something like that, you would click on the non-emergency prompt. There's apart from that, that'll kind of place you on hold until an operator is available. There is no button to request the unarmed response. Once the operator picks up your call, you would kind of describe the situation and then they would dispatch the non-emergency. So that is something that we do. Our office would like to see that changed because, again, as you mentioned, it just kind of adds more burden and for some of these kind of mental health interventions, we want to make sure that these teams are dispatched as soon as possible. So I know going forward, this is all, still technically a pilot program, and they're constantly kind of doing reports on response times, on calls for service. So I definitely think that is something that affects the calls for service, especially if, you have to wait, uh, you know, 20, 30 minutes to get through the operator. Um, so that is something we are looking at. I do know that one of the reasons why they don't have kind of a standalone option is because they do want the 911 operators to vet the situation. They don't want to send, unarmed unarmed folks into perhaps a dangerous situation or into perhaps a situation involving a weapon. So that is why the system is set up the way it currently is. But I do hope that maybe perhaps sometime this year there are some changes to that.
Okay, thanks. And then on the tree situation next to the auto repair, which would be, I assume they're the two trees that were on Menlo Avenue, just south of Gardena Boulevard. I mean, frankly, it wasn't done with a permit, but those are camphor trees, and they should never have been planted there because there's camphor trees on the street where I grew up in Torrance, and their trunks eventually get to be about 4 feet across, and the roots are just tremendous. And, to have them planted in that very narrow parkway is just inappropriate. But hopefully the sidewalk can be repaired and 2 new, more appropriate street trees planted.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna swing by tomorrow morning and just take some pictures and get them to urban forestry so that they can enforce what they need to.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rosalie. I don't see any other hands up at this point. No. So if there are no more questions, then we will go on to the mayor's office. I don't think we have anyone from the mayor's office. Los Angeles County Supervisor, Second District. I don't see anyone from there either. Let me know if I'm wrong, Rosalie. Okay, thank you. And then Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, Helena Dow. Thank you, Helena.
Hi. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Thank you, Joan, and it's good to be here. As Nicholas said, I don't have to tell you what's been going on, and as you could probably imagine, folks are tied up, especially the mayor's office. It's been a very heavy couple weeks. I learned today that someone in my own department lost their home, and I know folks in the city. I even learned there are board members who have lost their homes. So it's it's just been heartbreaking. And so you all know that's kind of where my head's been at, and also just like finding resources. You may have seen I sent a few emails. I wanted to make sure everyone felt supported. So it looks like maybe your area was probably out of any major trouble, but if you know anyone who could benefit from those resources, please feel free to share those. Our department sent out more resources today, and then if anything comes up, please don't hesitate to reach out. I tend to, in these situations, go into like, let's go mode. And my social work hat comes on, so I'm here to help. That all said, I hope that you're all taking some time to take care of yourselves. It's even if you aren't directly impacted, there are, as I've shared, indirect impacts. And so please do take care of yourself. Take time to maybe not look at all of that devastation, and hug someone, hug your dog or cat. Yeah, so I hope you're all taking care. As for updates, there's not a lot to share because that has been so, that's kind of how we start the year. But just some recaps for the candidate filing. As you all may have seen in emails with the city clerk, the filing period did close on January 6th. And the vote by mail app opens on January 24th. I know that with everything going on, the city clerk, they may or may not extend dates. So keep an eye out. And then if you're bored, if you do think you all should have an extension, please feel free to reach out to them. And I'll share all of the dates. I shared it in my previous email. I'll share it again in this next round. And I would say the last most, I think, important update, or an update that I think will really pique all of your ears, is we got to meet with the Board of Public Works. So last Tuesday, before everything just got so chaotic, we were able to meet with the commission, the Board of Public Works, and I actually learned a lot that I hadn't known. So street lighting issue was brought up a lot. But one thing I learned on that note is that actually back in April, the mayor started a task force to address that issue, and they are highlighting and prioritizing those requests. So they're doing that. They know to prioritize and highlight those requests. That said, the board themselves also recommended, let your city office representative know. And when you submit that 311 request, they can, they have access, and they can also bump those up and make sure that they are being prioritized. So they did stress continue submitting those requests. And they also shared, and it's a resource I had never really considered, if you hear different information or you're still seeing issues, you can email them. So feel free, and I'm going to share a link to their website, but you can reach out to the Public Works Commission directly. So I know over the past few months, a lot of the same stuff has been shared, but that's now one more avenue that I didn't even know about that may help get some of these issues addressed sooner than later. The other thing is data. Data is something a lot of folks across different NCs have been asking, and they did share, they mentioned to go to Open Data. I don't know if any of you have used Open Data. I would say the platform isn't that user-friendly, and some reports haven't been updated in a while. But that said, if you do go to Open Data, because the request should be there, and the report is not being updated, we can report that to the ITA department. That is the Information Technology Agency. I think that's what it stands for. But the ITA, we can submit that to them to make sure that those reports start getting activated and they're current and up to date. And then the last thing is they are also going to be hosting town halls coming up. We don't have any dates, so this is all just preliminary, giving you a heads up. Keep an eye out for those emails because once we get those dates, the Board of Public Works will be hosting town halls across council districts to discuss a lot of these key issues like street lighting, infrastructure. And again, date's not confirmed, but I would really strongly encourage everyone to attend and raise these concerns because then they can hear directly from you. Please know that while I was there, I was speaking on behalf of my neighborhood councils, but it's one thing when they hear it from me, but if they hear a bunch of folks coming together and bringing up the same concerns, it has, I think, more power, more oomph. And that's really it. Not a lot. Again, the major focus has been just like recovery and response. But do you have any questions for me?
I don't see any hands up. No, I see no hands up. But thank you, Helena.
Thank you.
Okay, so as there seem to be no questions, but thank you so much for that information. I go to the next item, number 3, item F, which is the board election candidates voter registration event on Saturday, February the 1st. Do you have questions? Are there any questions on that? Or Rosalie, did you want to go over that at all?
Yeah, I don't know if Frankie,
You can go ahead, Rosalie. I don't have my information with me.
okay. So from our election website on the city clerk's website, it looks like we have 4 contested seats. There's 2 or 3 seats that didn't get any candidates. I see that the city clerk, there were about 4 candidates that filed right in the beginning. And most of them never did get certified, and they're still listed as pending. And I see that the final date is, I think it's a week from this Friday for the city clerk to finalize that. Where, as Helena said, voting registration opens on January 24th and closes on March 16th. We're voting only by mail. So candidates and board members need to encourage their family and neighbors to register to vote by mail, and then maybe keep track of who you're encouraging to vote. And then when the ballots arrive, remind them to fill them out and send them in. To that end, the outreach committee scheduled a voter registration event on Saturday, February 1st. It will be in the lobby of the building where we have our office at 555 West Redondo Beach Boulevard from 10 to 2. We will have the paper registration forms there and the ability to copy people's driver's license or photo ID on our office copy machine and put both into an envelope to mail off to the city clerk, so that those who register that way will receive their ballot in the mail, and will have the ability to mark out their driver's license number so that people feel the information is a little more private. We can also show people how to register to vote electronically, which the city clerk has a link set up for that. But again, because we are a documentation required neighborhood council for our elections, people have to upload a copy of their photo ID, which you know, is pretty easy to do if you're using your cell phone to register. We will also, on that morning from 10 till 1, not the full time, but from 10 to 1, have a shred van parked in that parking lot. So everyone start saving up everything you need shredded. And we're not going to be doing, we had decided not to do a flyer for that event. We're only going to advertise it through social media, an email, and a robocall. So, you know, let your neighbors and family members know about the shredding. There will be the emergency management department present to give out information, which right at this time, we think people will especially be receptive to how to create your go bag, etc. And we may be able to get an emergency supplies company to also set up in the lobby so that they can actually sell people supplies. Because we know in the past when we've done similar events, people kind of want to, you know, they're motivated to create that go bag and get more of their emergency supplies ready. And we had hoped to get a 311 table present, but we're having trouble reaching the right people in 311. So I don't know if Helena has a contact. The woman who came to one of our meetings about a year and a half ago in person, I don't think she still works. I think she's retired. I did email through the 311 website. They have a way to request an outreach team, but they haven't responded. So, and if anyone has any other ideas on tables that would encourage people to come out to register, but also to get a little information, you know, let Frankie or I know. And then once the people start receiving their ballots, the voting, you can mail in your ballot between February 18th to March 18th. So that's coming right up. So the outreach committee had tentatively discussed holding an online by Zoom candidate forum like we've done for the last 2 elections on Thursday, February 19th. So that would be early in the voting period. And because it would be by Zoom, it would be recorded and we could post it to our website and share it through social media. So people who couldn't attend the actual Zoom meeting would be able to view the recording for the 4 contested seats. But we're having trouble finding a moderator for that. It won't be as complicated as our past 2 elections because there aren't as many contested seats and candidates. So it should only be about maybe 45 minutes to no more than an hour session. Those of us who are running unopposed, we're thinking that those candidates will just appear, state their name, the office they've filed for, and people will at least see them and recognize who they are. And then for the 4 contested seats, then the moderator will allow those candidates more time to give their background, you know, some of their goals if elected, and maybe answer one question that all of the candidates would be asked. So if anyone has an idea of a moderator, let us know.
What date is that again, Rosalie? You said
Well,
February.
Tentatively Thursday, February 19th.
I think it's the 20th.
Okay, well, it would either be that Wednesday or the Thursday,
Okay.
depending
Eh.
on the moderator.
And are there rules around who can moderate or guidelines?
You know, it should be a neutral person. In last time we had a man and a whole team from a Toastmasters group, but he hasn't responded. And, you know, and at one time we've used the League of Women Voters a couple times, but it's really hard to schedule them. They're so busy, and we have to pay them a couple hundred at least. So, and also there was a professor, a government professor at Cal State Dominguez Hills who was willing to do it the last time, and then we used the Toastmasters. So I reached out to him again, but now he and his wife are having their first child right around that date, so he's not available. Ideally, they would be a neutral person, not associated with our neighborhood council, and skilled with using Zoom. And maybe have an assistant for, you know, handling. One person kind of oversees it and the other person allows the candidates into the session, etc.
Okay. Did Eva have a question?
I did. I don't think I heard you mention the ballot boxes.
You know, at this point, we don't really know about them. I think the city clerk in one of the workshops late last year said there would be one ballot box per neighborhood council area, but you know, the reason why we're having a vote by mail only election is because of the city's budget crunch. And getting access to those ballot boxes, they have to pay LA County Register of Voters. So I'm wondering if they're going to forget about it, but we don't know yet. So
Tentatively, they're going through the post office?
yes.
Okay.
But they allow a long time after that last date of March 18th. They allow at least 10 days for your ballot to actually arrive. Yeah, so, and you know, last time, the way the location of the so-called nearest ballot drop for our neighborhood council area was that park. What's the name of that?
Park on Manchester, on Hoover, near Manchester.
Yeah, so it wasn't really that close to us either.
No,
And
it wasn't.
you know, we had asked that they consider the box at Billbrew, but who knows? And, you know, if they rent or lease those boxes, you know, it means they need to have staff to go out and monitor and pick up the ballots, I think. So I don't know. It's not an ideal situation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? I don't see any other hands up. No, okay, if not, thank you so much, Rosalie, for giving us all that information, and thank you, Eva, for your question. It was very important. So going on to updates on our 24-25 board goals and priorities.
If Rosalie, if you allow me to share my screen, I can throw those, I can share the goals and we can run through those quickly.
That would be great. Thank you, Madge.
It should work now.
Yes. 1 second. Do you all see my screen okay?
Yes, terrific.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go through this. The beautification and creation of green spaces. Joan and or Dave have any update?
None at this moment. I think we cannot progress very far until we have heard more about the status of the possible grant from Dominguez Hills. Is that right? Nicholas? We have heard no more about that grant.
I think Nicholas dropped.
Oh, has he left? Okay, thank you. Well, I haven't heard any more, and I think Dave probably hasn't. Right, Dave?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's a sort of waiting game. But if there
Okay.
are any other possibilities of beautifying anywhere, then we are open to suggestions. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next category, safety and cleanliness.
Yes.
Any update on the coffee with a cop?
Frankie, Nita,
We
either of you?
were working with Officer Martinez. I don't know, we was trying to get a date for January, but I don't, Rosalie, did he ever get back with us?
No, and because of the fires, I think it'll probably be
Right,
February.
be delayed probably.
So as soon as they give us a date, we're ready. You know, we've voted money to support it. We may be
Right.
able to get donations of coffee and Danish, so.
Did you actually find a hosting site at this point, Rosalie? Or is that still up in the
It's
air?
going to be at 555 West Redondo Beach Boulevard.
Okay, thank you.
And we would heavily advertise it to the businesses around there who,
Great.
you know, are experiencing the issues with the homeless encampments and.
Correct.
That sounds excellent. Yes, thank you. And then the
Okay.
next,
Okay, thanks.
go ahead, Maj, if you wish to.
Yes, the next category is increasing stakeholder engagement, participation, and community connection, including the youth. So the first bullet point here, Jackie or Dave hosts van bus trip with lunch for stakeholders to view key Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council issues, existing assets, creating connections among stakeholders of all districts.
Jackie or Dave?
So
Have
we
any
haven't
updates? Yes.
done anything in terms of like a bus tour or anything like that. I don't know. I think I mentioned last time that bus tour seems like a less of a urgent thing. What we have connected to what's actually going on in my school is we have 2 grade level, 6th grade and 8th graders that are set on beginning a group project that lasts about a month, in which they are to identify local issues in their community and find proposed solutions to those issues, and then try to advocate for those within with local city officials or even with us as a neighborhood council. So we're trying to get our kids activated through that lens to try to find assets in their community and then areas that they could improve. So to that end, there'll be some invitations going out digitally for January 31st, where folks can come and share with kids what what they think our issues are in the community and potential avenues that they themselves could take. So I'll be reaching out to Nicholas and some people on here and maybe even Helena, see if she can come out and engage the kids, and then maybe have them engage their parents through that. But I have access to middle schoolers, and that's what I'm going to leverage at this time.
That's
Okay,
great, Dave. Thank you.
okay, great. Okay, then going
All right.
to the next one.
Yes, this is for Finesse, organize a cultural event or survey to engage stakeholders, possibly in collaboration with the 2025 Juneteenth event. Do you have any further updates, Finesse? I know you shared a lot, I believe, at the last meeting.
Not many at this time. My friends and I are working on contacting different colleges to see if we can invite any people who are at like cosmetology schools to be a part of the hair care event, and then we're gonna work on contacting the vendors, like people at beauty supplies, people with natural natural hair products and things of that nature to come and I guess present their product at the event. But as of now, there's not really many other updates other than that.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you.
and I just want to add that when I saw Nicholas, because I know Finesse had asked when she and her group would be able to start being in touch with Council District 15 for the Juneteenth event. When I saw him at the Winter Wonderland, he said that they would be starting, their office would be starting planning in January, which probably won't be till February at this point, but so we'll try to be in touch so that Finesse knows that they're working with her and allowing for those presentations to have space at the event.
Okay, thank you. Okay, over to you.
I think that
No,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I'm Madge. The next.
Jeremy had his hand up. Or I don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
if
go ahead, Jeremy.
Yes. Jeremy, do you know to unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Uh,
can. Thank
Hey
you.
everyone, my name is Jeremy Dijon Guyton. I'm a candidate for District 6 and also just a third generation resident of this neighborhood. And I just wanted to comment, I got really excited hearing about the potential for stakeholders to speak with youth about ways that they're viewing issues in our neighborhood, and just wanted to offer, I was a K through 12 educator in New Orleans, and about 5-6 years ago, we started a festival in which we did just that. Allowed youth an opportunity through performance, through creative measures, to communicate around issues that they saw, particularly in their schools, but also in their neighborhoods. And it provided a forum for them to enter into meaningful dialogue with adult stakeholders, including their teachers, parents, family members. So really just offering, if there's any support wanted or needed or thought partnership on that program, would love to tap in. That's all. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank-
Maybe you could get in touch with Dave, or Dave will get in
Um,
touch with you.
Jeremy, I'm wondering if I can get an email address from you, and then I'll reach out to you. Can you see the chats? Are you able to see chats as a panel, as an attendee?
Yes, I'll drop my email in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you. That sounds terrific. Okay, and the last part?
Yes, we have two more. The third one, bullet point.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Can you
Go
hear me?
ahead, Madge.
Yeah, okay. The next one, create partnerships with existing community gardens and the Venice Family Clinic for their biweekly food giveaways, including tabling. This one is on my plate. I don't have any further updates at this point. So I don't know if anyone has any questions or any things that they've identified. I think from the minutes from last meeting, Rosalie and I will connect with some of the places that we had also further identified. But otherwise, I don't have anything further this month.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, and last but not least, Eva, do you have a question? You're on mute.
Yes. Can you unmute, Eva?
Yeah, okay, I apologize. I'm
Great.
sorry, I'm backtracking. This was a comment for Finesse. Finesse, I have a very large box of different types of crochet hair that I would love to donate to your event. So if you just let me know when it's needed, I'll be happy to pass that on to you.
Thank you, Eva. That's really, really helpful, I'm sure. Okay.
Great, thank you, Eva. And then last but not least, Rosalie, on the website improvements, do you have any updates this month?
Just that because Helena had sent out the really good list of resources for fire impacted people, we had our webmaster, Aaron Devondre, put that on our website. So it's the top article and it allows all of us and anyone we want to refer to it, you know, easy way to find those resources. In looking for something else on other neighborhood council websites, I did see a couple where I really like the way their tabs were across the website. So I'm going to suggest that to Aaron as a way for him to get started kind of reorganizing some of our pages to be more visible and easier to access.
Okay, thank you, Rosalie, and thank you, Maj.
You're welcome.
Then if there are no more questions for Maj, Eva, do you still have your hand up? I guess you don't. It's easy to forget. Okay, so item number 4, revised appointment of homeless liaisons, following which will be a vote. Rosalie, would you like to take over? Or
Just to let everyone know that I did contact the existing liaisons and so because of his work and school schedule, Oscar Ruiz said that he would withdraw as one of the previously designated liaisons. So there's room to appoint Barbara Tyson Frazier and Marvin Bell, and we can keep Hannah Woods and have our 3 officially appointed liaisons.
okay.
So
Do we
I
still-
make a motion that we officially appoint as our homeless liaisons to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, Barbara Tyson Frazier, Marvin Bell, and Hannah Woods.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Oh, we called for a second on that, right?
I second.
Thank you, Eva. Are there any questions, discussions needed on these appointments? I see no hands up, and so I will call for the vote.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Majeni Nixon,
Yes.
Lyvern Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays, is Frankie still here?
Yes.
Jackie Jackson,
Yes.
Vanessa Simmons,
Dennis, can you unmute? Rosalie, do you know how to are you able to unmute somebody? Actually, I don't see Vanessa's. Oh, yes, here she is. Vanessa, can you unmute yourself? Let's pass on and come back if necessary.
Craig Kusunoki,
Yes.
and Finesse, were you able to unmute?
Are you as host able to unmute her, Rosalie?
I don't seem
Good.
to be able to. I can ask to
Yes.
unmute.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So it will be a no vote then or absent.
Or a abstention, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you. Then on to the next item, is approval of revisions to the Harbour Gateway North Neighbourhood Council standing rules, again followed by a vote. And the standing rules should be in your packet.
I'm also
Rose-
gonna share my screen. Hopefully everyone can see that, if it makes it
Okay.
easier.
Thank you, Liva.
So I will just highlight the changes.
Yes, thank you.
I have my hand up before we get started with this.
Who is this? Oh, Lou, I'm so sorry, I did not see your hand.
Yes, this
Lou,
is,
please go ahead.
this is Lou Watson. I'm
Yes.
requesting a motion by one of the board members to table this item and refer it to the bylaws committee for vetting.
Okay. Is that,
I just wanted to explain that this is
I don't
exactly,
Explain, it was not vetted by the bylaws committee, and that's where it should have gone first.
it's what the bylaws committee approved, except for one.
We have not had a meeting on this, Rosalie.
then I think we probably should have a meeting on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we agreed that we will table this motion?
There needs to be a motion in a second.
Yes, okay. I call for a motion to table this item
And
make a motion to table this item
and refer it to the bylaws committee.
and refer it to the bylaws committee.
and
Okay,
refer it to the bylaws committee.
thank you. And is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Jackie. And are there any further discussions on this? I think we've heard the reasons, so, okay, then I will call for a vote. Rosalie, please, thank you.
Joan Jacobs, it's a motion to table
To table, yes, the
Refer to the
motion is to table.
and
So
to refer to the
I will
bylaws.
say yes.
Rosalie Preston, no. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
No.
Arvie Powell,
Avi, Avi, are you able to unmute?
Yes, yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
No.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson,
Yes.
Finesse Simmons,
Yes.
Craig Kusunoki.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes to table and refer to the bylaws committee.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 6, consideration of support for council file 240602 regarding synthetic grass and the health and environmental risks. And we call for a vote afterwards if there are no further questions. Rosalie, did you have anything to report on this? I think you're going to look at the,
So the council file actually has already been approved by the LA City Council. And it basically is calling for studies by various departments on the feasibility of banning the use of artificial turf in public facilities and home gardens, because previously the Department of Water and Power, if you took out your lawn, you could receive the rebate money if you installed artificial turf instead of the lawn, but it has now been realized that artificial turf has a lot of adverse environmental impacts. It contains those forever chemicals, the PFAS, and which can leach into the drinking water and other water supplies and increases microplastics. It cannot be recycled. It has to go into the landfill at the end of its useful life, which is maybe 20, 25 years. And also, it's been used on sports fields, including at Rosecrans Recreation Center when they upgraded all their fields. And whereas it was thought that by replacing the grass with the artificial turf, it would be less costly and use less water, apparently you still have to wash it down to clean off various things. So in the end, it doesn't really save that much water, and apparently it can be it can lead to players getting injuries. It becomes very hot in the summer, for one thing. So therefore, it's basically calling for various departments to study to phase out the use of synthetic turf throughout the city. And it has already been passed.
Anyway. But if we would like to still make a motion to support that file, we can go ahead. So would anyone like to make a motion in support of that file or in support of that law, just to show that we support it anyway?
I make a motion to support.
Thank you very much. And second?
I second.
Thank you. All right.
Was that Eva?
Frankie.
Frankie, okay.
Yes, it is supposed to be very bad. I mean, it has been found to be bad health-wise to the children, in particular, who will have to play or whatever it is on that artificial turf. So if there are any other questions, there is a handout, or it was in your packet, an explanation of what the pros and cons are, or what the pros were thought to be and what the cons are. Okay. So if there are no other questions and nothing more to discuss, then I will call for a vote, please, Rosalie.
Okay, to support Council File 240602 regarding the phase out or banning of artificial turf, Joan Jacobs.
Yes, support.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Madge Nixon.
Yes.
Laverne Frerick.
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker.
Yes.
Dave Trejo.
Yes.
Arby Powell.
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace.
Yes.
Marvin Bell.
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz.
Yes.
Frankie Mays.
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Vanessa Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Kusunoki.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, sorry, I seem to have lost my place a little.
Yeah.
I think this is the minutes from the last meeting is our next. Oh,
Correct.
okay. That was item number 6. Now, item number 7 is removed, taken off the agenda. Item number 8. We'll go to administrative motions,
Wait,
approval of.
why was item number 7
Wait.
taken?
It is.
What happened to 7?
Item number 7 has been taken off the agenda because if we discuss it this evening, we may be contravening the Brown Act. And so, as an abundance of caution, we are not going to discuss it this evening. It will be brought up at a further meeting.
I'm sorry, Joan. I didn't understand what you said. If we discuss it this evening, what would that mean?
We could be contravening the Brown Act. And so in order to be secure about that, we will leave it and put it on the agenda of a later meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. So on to item number 8, administrative motions. Approval of the December the 10th, 2024 board minutes. Has everybody read the board minutes? And again, they were in.
And I just want to say that the motion should say as corrected because we learned that under where it says absence is excused, it needs to just say absent.
Excuse me, Rosalie, if we're talking about number 7, we do not discuss it at all.
I'm talking about the board minutes.
Yeah, we're talking about the meeting.
About the board minutes. Okay, thank you very much for clarifying.
Okay, but back to number 7. If it's already on the agenda, don't we have to I mean, you can just say it's not there anymore. Don't we have to take it off?
We just have to remove it. Yes.
It just gets removed?
It just
Melena
gets
has her
removed
hand up.
because
She
we
may be able to provide.
Excuse me, we are not allowed to, we should not contravene the Board Act, the Brown Act, and we do not want to take that risk.
I understand that, but isn't there a procedure to remove something that's already on the agenda?
In this case, Helena, I think I am correct, right? In this case, we just remove it and there should be further discussion.
Yeah. So,
may I say something after she finishes, please?
Could you I would just like Helena to finish what she was saying, Lou, and then I will call on you. Okay, thank you. Helena?
well, let me actually take a step back. In the absence of a chair present, the vice chair is the one to make like the executive decision. So typically what would happen is we sometimes get agenda items or we get agendas and I see there's an agenda item that I'm not too sure about. I will then go to the city attorney's office and I will say, hey, I'm not sure about this agenda, and they make a recommendation. It was advised to not speak on this agenda item. I and the city attorney's office will meet with the vice chair directly to discuss the process and really lay that out. But as such, we cannot discuss any further because this is likely the topic of which you all want to talk about is going to be brought up at a later meeting. Any discussion now could sway folks. That's where then it becomes a potential Brown Act violation. And that's why it would be the chair, or in this case, the vice chair, to say, great, I've received the recommendation. We are not going to discuss this item at all. So it's not that you're tabling it. It's just you can't even have this conversation on the way this agenda item is written. Keep that in mind. If you read the agenda item as it is written, it cannot be discussed, nor would it be useful because it's not, the language of the agenda item isn't really getting to the matter which you all want to talk about. I hope that makes sense.
That makes sense, but it didn't answer my question.
Which is what, Eva?
My question was, is there supposed to be a procedure to remove an item that is already on the agenda?
Not in this case.
No.
So the chair, whoever the chair is, sitting chair, can just say it's gone.
That's right.
I'm not asking for a discussion. I'm asking about the removal. And
so much
someone
that
just saying it's gone. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. It's not so much that it's removed. Maybe the language isn't the best way to put that. It's more just we cannot discuss this item. So
I'm not trying to discuss it.
Yeah.
Discuss it, yes.
I'm not trying to discuss it.
Right, we just remove it from the agenda, as if it was not on the agenda. If it had been a few days earlier, before the agenda was posted, it would have been just eliminated like that.
So in the minutes, is it okay just to, for that item, say removed from the agenda and not give the reason that it was per
Yes.
the advice of the city attorney?
That's what I'm asking. How does that get reflected in
Okay.
the minutes?
Yes.
Okay,
State
now,
that it was removed on the advice of the city attorney's office.
thank you, Helena.
You're welcome.
Okay. Lou?
I was
You,
I was just wondering why the issue couldn't have been resolved by saying, this item is tabled.
it isn't tabled. It will go on in different language on a future agenda. The item that we wanted to discuss under this was not, it was incorrectly written, which is nobody's fault. It was just the way it came up. So in future, the discussion we do want to have will
Be correctly.
be on a, it will, yes, it will be written in the correct manner so that it is open to discussion. Okay?
I just want to add one thing.
Yes.
This really is a moot point,
Mhm.
and time is being wasted over this.
I know there is nothing much we can do about it until at
It's
least
not, I don't consider it time wasted if I had a question and I needed an answer.
Oh, I don't think that was what Lou meant. I understood Lou to mean that time wasted in getting to, in voting on the item which we really wanted to vote on. Was that what you meant, Lou?
Yes, that is correct, Joan.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Wasn't your questions, Lou? That was not meant at all. No.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Lou. And thank you, Eva. And we will go on to the next item, the approval of the December the 10th board minutes, 2024 board minutes. Has everybody read them? Ready to vote? Rosalie, you had a
I just
correction.
wanted to say that whoever makes the motion, it will be the minutes as corrected, because I will remove that word excused. It will just have present, board members present and board members absent.
So this
Thank
is Madge. I make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Are there any other corrections first, though, Madge? We do need to find out. Everybody, no other corrections? In which case, then the motion has been made. We will accept the motion as put forwards. And do I have a second?
I second Frankie.
Thank you, Frankie. Are there any discussions? We're all right. I call for a vote. Rosalie?
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frerichs,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson,
Yes.
Vanessa Simmons,
Yes.
Craig Kusunoki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, everybody. Then we go on to the next item, which is, oh my God,
Should be the monthly expenditure report.
I think so. I just want to double check. Oh, yes, approval of the monthly expenditure report of December 2024. Please go ahead, Madge.
Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen. I'll go through this quickly. The total spent to date is about $8,000, a little bit more than $8,000. The remaining balance of our 32,000 plus budget is 23,924.01 cents. You can see the breakdown of what was spent in December with the detailed backup. So mostly office, a little bit of outreach, which I believe was for the general meeting that we had in October, and I believe some election, printing of postcards for the upcoming 2025 elections. And let me see if there's anything else to point out here. This is everything that was paid. And then we already have submitted for payment for 2 office items, the rent and this phone bill for January. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I think we can go to a vote.
I call for a vote. I do not see any hands up, and I call for a vote.
Rosalie makes the motion.
Thank you, and I call for a second. Sorry, I called for someone to move, yes. So I call for a second. Can I second?
It's better if another board member makes.
Yes, but it's responding. Harvey, thank you very much. Yes. Then I call for a vote.
Okay, so this is approval of the December 2024 monthly expenditure report. Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Majeni Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Finette is ineligible due to her age. Craig Kusunoki,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Then on to Craig, did you have a question, Eva? No. Okay. And I call to item number 8C, which is approval of up to $100 for additional home discount refreshments on January the 23rd, which will be followed by a vote.
So I just wanted to explain that as Nicholas mentioned, due to the fire situation, the homeless count has been postponed from January 23rd, which is the count both for Harbor Gateway,
SPAR 6 and 8.
yeah, SPA 6 and 8. And our neighborhood council is sponsoring or being the deployment center, sponsoring the deployment center for our districts 1 through half of District 6, it turns out, up to the 105 freeway. So Jeremy will try to contact you if you might be interested in helping with that count. And that's the SPA 8 area. It also will be covering the census tracts for Harbor Gateway South. And we've been talking with them about providing volunteers. The SPA 6 area of our neighborhood council covers the northern part of District 6, District 7, District 8. That deployment center is at the Watts Labor Community Action Committee building. And this year, they're both on the same night. So we have to reach out to 2 different sets of people to encourage volunteers. So it looks like, and it's Hannah Wood's daughter who's going to be the site coordinator. She's already been given $50 worth of gift cards, so we may not really need to provide any more additional in snacks and water for the volunteers, but just in case at the last minute, we thought it would be prudent to vote a little bit extra. And the count now most likely will take place on the fourth Thursday of February, but we haven't gotten the official word. The deployment center will be 555 West Redondo Beach Boulevard in the lobby area. So I make a motion to vote on up to $100 for the additional refreshment.
I second.
Okay, we
There are
have
no further, I was muted. If there are no further questions or discussions, I call for a vote. Rosalie?
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Vanessa is ineligible due to her age. Craig Kusunoki,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8D, approval of a board reimbursement of $43.80 to Rosalie Preston for 250 paper bags from Etsy for Winter Wonderland at Normandale Recreation Center on December the 20th, 2024. And that will be followed by a vote. I call for a motion to approve this item.
I
I motion
motion-
that the item be approved.
And I second, it's Madge.
Thank you both.
And I just wanted to explain
Questions? Yes, if there are questions or explanations, go ahead.
that it would have been paid already through our credit card, but because it was Etsy, I guess, the card was blocked. There's certain, when you use the cards, certain terms come up that are relayed to the bank, which is US Bank. And if it's on this list of forbidden items, then they block use of the card. And so I tried to get it unblocked, but it couldn't get unblocked in time to order so that the bags would come in time to use them for the Winter Wonderland outreach to put the sugar cookies in. So I had to use my personal credit card to meet the deadline.
Thank you, Rosalie. Are there any further questions for Rosalie, or? I see no hands up, so I will call for the vote. Rosalie?
Okay, Joan Jacobs.
Yes.
I don't know if I should vote or just abstain, but I'll abstain. Jenny Nixon,
Yes.
Laverne Frericks,
Yes.
Nita Stonehawker,
Yes.
Dave Trejo,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Eva Cooper Pace,
Yes.
Marvin Bell,
Yes.
Oscar Ruiz,
Yes.
Frankie Mays,
Yes.
Jackie Jackson.
Yes.
Finesse is ineligible because of her age. Craig Kusunoki,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you very much. So now we come to the final item, item number 9, board business and announcements. A, reports from committees. Are there any reports from the committees? Yes, Rosalie.
The Planning and Land Use Committee will be meeting on the fourth Thursday, January 23rd. And we still have a lot of major issues to discuss, including the California Waste Services permit renewal, the upcoming release of the final environmental impact report on the Prologis warehouse. And now we have a number, at least 4, I think, ED1 projects for apartments where there are no parking spaces being included. And particularly the one that's really impacting a neighborhood is the one at 700 West 120th Street at the corner of Hoover. So, and then I don't know, Frankie, we'll have to decide if there's going to be another outreach committee meeting next week.
Thank you.
All right.
So any other? Frankie, you have a report?
No, that's it. Just thanks for the ones that supported the Winter Wonderland.
Thank you. Are there any other reports from committee chairs? Eva? Your name lit up. So if there are no further reports, are there any announcements regarding general membership meeting, Mayor's Day of Service? So the Tuesday, January the 28th is a general membership meeting at the 135th Street School. The Mayor's Day of Service is Saturday, January the 25th. And the homeless count has been announced before by Rosalie, and the new date. This is the old date, right?
Old date.
Yes.
So I just wanted to mention that the Mayor's Day of Service, when I was at the Neighborhood Council 25th anniversary event at City Hall back in December, Mayor Karen Bass was one of the speakers near the end of the program, and she announced that, of course, this was before the terrible fires, that the plan was every month this year, the mayor's office would organize a cleanup day in a different part of the city with the idea that neighborhood council and community people from all over the city would come to that location and help with the cleanup. So the first one was scheduled for late January. And I assume it's still on, but it's kind of in the mid-Wilshire area. I imagine that one will be scheduled more in the harbor area at some point, so maybe we'll focus on getting volunteers for that time. But I just wonder, do you think we should go ahead with the in-person meeting at the 135th Street School? At this point, we have a speaker about housing from that group. Now I cannot remember the name, but we've had them speak a long time ago, but they speak about apartment rights and also ways that people, low-income people can purchase homes. But we've been trying to we wanted to have a speaker on the issue of calling the non-emergency police number but Officer Martinez already told me some weeks ago that the captain of our station, Southeast Station, would be unavailable at the end of January because she had some other major reporting event planned. And of course, at this point, we just don't know what the situation with the fire remediation is going to be. So we don't,
Right.
yeah, we only really have kind of one speaker. And the issue is that if we're going to do the flyer, it's got to get to the printer by Friday. The draft flyer, you know, I don't know if we should try to do it by Zoom, which we have done in the past, but this time, or what do people think?
Anybody suggestions? Anybody, any suggestions at all? Now, how easy is it for us to change a date? It's fine of a meeting that's usually held at a certain time, and that's fine if we let people know in plenty of time, right?
Well, we wouldn't change the date. We would either,
Oh, you're talking about using the same date and
but having the
getting another
meeting on
speaker.
Zoom, yeah, either keeping the date, just seeing if we could find another speaker, but offering it as a chance for our stakeholders to meet in person at the 135th Street School, and hopefully at least Council District 15 would be there, and this one
Right.
speaker, and maybe we would have another speaker. I did invite LADWP. Someone had suggested that, but they haven't responded. There is
With the
we could-
fires, it's very up in the air.
kind of up in the air. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any suggestions of something they're interested in hearing?
Otherwise, maybe just the executive committee can we can make an informal decision by
Okay,
Thursday, I guess.
and it would have to be Thursday, right, to get it out in time, everything done in time.
I don't know. Maybe there was somebody from they might be busy too. I was thinking about the American Red Cross, but they might be busy also.
Yeah, usually you have to pay for them to come.
Oh, you do? Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Okay, well, we'll make a decision, and
We'll make a decision, right? Okay.
because one issue is that we're in the process of applying for the permit, and because everything was shut down for a week, you know, that's kind of delayed that, and there's only 2 weeks now to get that permit, and well, we'll discuss it further among the executive committee.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, if there are no other questions or announcements that are needed, then I will call this meeting closed, adjourned. And our next meeting will be
It'll be
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
28th. Yes. Thank you. The general meeting will be the meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for attending and your participation. And
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Matt.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody.
Good night. Stay
Good
safe.
night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.